Good day, everyone. Today we will be talking about the principles on selection and on the use of instructional materials. I am pretty sure that you guys are already familiar with what is instructional materials, or most commonly known as IMs or visual aids. So, for this video, we will talk about what are those principles and selecting and using those said instructional materials. So, let's start with the first principle. The first principle is that all instructional materials are aid to teacher. They doesn't replace the teacher. Of course, instructional materials are just there to serve as a guiding tool for the teachers, for him or her rather, to more elaborate and discuss the topic well, because the discussions will be boring if there is no instructional materials presented by the teacher. So to cut the attention of the students, you must have something. You must have something for them to show that will encourage their visuals to listen to you. So for the second principle is choose the best instructional materials that suits your objective learning. Of course, your instructional materials must be related with your objective learning. Let's cite an example. For example, you want your student to have a movie review on a certain movie because you are teaching English literature and there are a lot of movie reviews there. So at the end of the class, you are expecting that your student can have a movie review of a certain movie. For example, the movie is entitled The Good Dinosaur. And you are planning to have a movie marathon with your class, film viewing, for them to be able to see, because not all students can also access the internet and watch the movie that you wanted them to review. So you bring the movie there, you let the students watch the movie, but the problem is you played another movie instead of The Good Dinosaur, which is the movie that you wanted to be reviewed by your students. You played other movie, which is, for example, Attack on the Titans. Is there a connection between Attack on the Titans and on The Good Dinosaur? Which at the first place, your objective is that students would be able to have a movie review about a good dinosaur, but you presented a different video, you presented a different movie in the class. It doesn't make sense. Your video presentation is void rather, and null. So your instructional materials must be related with your objective learnings. Other example is that you are teaching in biology, study of life. Am I correct? Yeah, but I'm sure that biology is study of life. Then you wanted your student to identify a certain cell, and which you need a certain laboratory tools, and one of these tools is that shall I say microscope. You need microscope. But you bring different tools. Instead of bringing a microscope, you bring telescope. Can telescope be able to see a certain cell, single cell, small cell? Diba hindi? So, yeah, just what I've said, that your instructional materials must be related to your objective learnings. And the third principle of instructional materials on selecting and on using instructional materials is you should use variety of tools. You doesn't only depend on your laptops or your computers, or say, for example, let's use this example again, that you wanted your students to watch a movie, but then you only brought in the class your laptop and you have 50 students. Do you think all of your students can be able to see or be able to watch the movie just by using your laptop? So you could have another option. You can use another tool. which is projector. Bring a projector in class so that it should look like realistic, like they feel that we are just watching movies in cinemas. So if you had a lot of resources, then use your resources. Do not depend on one resources only. So the fourth principle is that prepare your instructional materials before going to class. So this is, I think this is the most important thing. I really, I think this one is the most important principle here. You must have a different plan for your instructional materials. Say for instance, you have a plan E, that tomorrow I will bring a projector to the class for them to be able to see the video, for them to be able to see my PDF files or whatsoever that you wanted to display on the screen. But on the other day around, when you go to the classroom, unfortunately, the power was interrupted. So, ran out. What did you do? You didn't initiate any plan. So, if you're going to make instructional materials, you must have plan E, plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E, up to alphabet Z. There are so many letters in alphabet, so there is no excuse for you not to make any plan. So, if plan E fails, then plan B will overcome. Plan B fails, then si plan C. Hanggang sa maubos lahat ng plan. So, you need to prepare because we can't predict fortuitous events. No, fortuitous events are those events that we cannot see they're coming. For example, electric interruption or device malfunction. If your laptop is working well and you're not home, but when you go to school it doesn't function, so you must have another option. The last principle is that the last and the fifth principle is that you must know how to use these materials. Well, first, if you're going to use a projector, you wanted a projector because you want it to be realistic. You want all of your students to pay attention to you. But the problem is you don't know how to use projector. You don't know how to connect the projector into your laptop. And that's really, 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 really a big problem. You must know how to use those tools. And you must use that tool in order for the students to be encouraged to listen to you, because I believe that visual aids and instructional materials are just like an assistant of the teachers. I mean, it will serve as their backup because you can't explain everything. For example, an astrology, whatever, the solar system. Can you bring the heavenly bodies right in front of the student? Can you bring the moon, the sun, and all the planets, and the stars, and the asteroids in front of your students? So you need a certain instructional materials for making them realistic. And by then, you will have a conducive learning towards the students, because I'm pretty sure that if you had a beautiful presentation of instructional materials, your students will be more attentive, and will be more participative in class, because they will say, I will listen to mom because she will show us how the earth evolves around the sun. She will show us how meteors fall. She will show us what is really the difference among the planets in the solar system. So if you just only say to your student na, okay class, imagine nyo na nasa kalawakan tayo. Imagine nyo na nakatabi niyo si Earth, ang katabi ni Earth is si Venus. Sasaya ka ba? I don't know if that would be a conducive learning. So, instructional materials are indeed really important in teaching, and overall, we We must be acquainted on how to select the best instructional materials that best suits our objective learnings for us to have a conducive learning within the class. I think that could be all, and I hope you learned something about this video. Thank you.